all know that Frank is the longest serving leader in Canada, but when I was putting this out, my old friend Stuart Parker, the former leader of the Green Party of BC, said 16 years, I bet you he's the longest serving leader in the world. And so I went about contacting leaders around the world, and yes, it turns out Frank de Young is the longest serving Green Party leader anywhere in the world. Former leader of the PC Party of Ontario, John Tory.
Thank you very much, Jim, and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I looked at the invitation that Jim sent out, and he sent me an email asking if I'd like to send a message or come, and it said, well, the people who are welcome to come were Green supporters, and other sort of their children and parents and whatnot, and I thought, well, I didn't necessarily fit in any of those categories because I belonged to another party, but notwithstanding that, I got myself here, and I was going to give an unabashed testimonial in favor of Frank until I heard that he was the longest serving political party leader in the world in Green, and all I would say is that just questions his judgment, not on the Green Party. Why would you want to be the leader of a political party for 16 years? Having done it for 5, I can tell you that was plenty enough, but nonetheless. Things he believed in very deeply, evidenced by 16 years leading a party that started off as a very small movement and has built itself into a registered, fully participating political party. But he just conducted himself in such a civil way and was just such a nice person and never seemed to have anything but a smile on his face, even when he was saying things perhaps that needed to be said that were tough. And so I got to like him then, I got to know him then, I got to respect him then, and I have respected him since. And so when Jim said to me that there was this party to celebrate his 16 years as leadership and to say goodbye and thank you, I would like to be among those to say to you, Frank, thank you for putting your name on a ballot, more than once, but for leading a party, for standing up for what you believed in, but for doing it in a way that I think brings honor to the political process, brings honor to the Green Party, but also brings a great deal of honor and credit to yourself.
The future leader of the Green Party of Ontario, I think he's a fantastic individual. I'm so excited. Mike Schreiner. Thank you. I have the honor today of reading a letter, and I'll let you know that I'm not going to do any editing or changing or ad-libbing of this letter. I'm going to read it directly. And it's dated September 12, 2009, and it's a personal message from the Premier.
Something else. And someone said to me that Frank, it's amazing how young he looks. Look at after 16 years in politics, look at how youthful it is. And I said, well, actually, I don't agree. I mean, he became leader at the age of 12, so I actually think, look, it's done to him. Frank.
I'm a writer and a visual artist, and I wrote this because I can't do the extemporaneous thing. Frank's sister Vera refers to Frank as the happy half-wit. This isn't a roast. I'm starting my remarks today with that observation because it is perhaps the key reason for Frank's longevity as the leader of the GPO. You might have been trying to get rid of him, but he didn't notice. He's a fabulous companion on a walk in the woods. He knows how to move through them, and that is perhaps the single most important contribution he has made to my life. He has given me a relationship to Ontario's lakes and forests. I was invited into his deep love for the province when I accompanied him down the Spanish River 11 years ago on my first and his gazillionth camping trip. By now I've lost count of how many times we've paddled together. That way of moving through the landscape changed my life, had a profound effect on my writing and art, and made me see what lies at the core of what Frank does, who he is and what he believes. I just want to say thank you all for your patience. I'll just end by saying I'm going to echo that this is a province worth protecting and fighting for. To Frank.
say, in politics, they say there's only two good days. The day you get elected and the day you resign. But in my case, that was certainly not the case. Every single day was a good day, and for whatever reason that is, it's been an absolute joy and energizing. I always think I get back more from doing this job than I put into it, but I shouldn't say that because that means I'm lazy or something. But but it's great. We've had, like Andrew Score, I was very pleased, Andrew, that you would be here, because, you know, like Jim and Chris and I, we were not the beginners. We didn't begin the Green Party in Canada. There were people before us. And I always think like Lois and Andrew and many others, a guy named Mark Adair, they started it, and I walked into something of a machine. I mean, it's a rickety machine with bockety wheels and no gas in the engine, but I walked in. I shouldn't use a car analogy. But it was a machine nonetheless, and it did very much, as Andrew said. It was, I missed the forming, and I was around for the storming and the norming, and Stuart Parker over there went through exactly the same thing in British Columbia, maybe even worse, I don't know. I've told this story before, but when I ran in Dufferin Field at one time, it really, I was floored one day when I always, as a Green Party person coming up through the ranks, we were pretty, you know, fairly obscure and irrelevant and fringe and all those other things. But at a certain point, something switched. And I felt it when I was in the middle of this by-election running against Ernie Eves, I guess it was, or John Tory. And it dawned on me that I had something in common with every person in that riding. And that, what I had in common with them was that we share the same air, we breathe the same air, we drink the same water. And I don't know what happened to me, and it just all of a sudden hit me, and I thought, wow, I have this kind, what Chris Chopik was saying, I have this kind of unity or oneness with everyone in the riding, all the voters. And that takes away your anger, takes away your frustration, takes away your sense of alienation, or that you're a party that doesn't always get included and doesn't get the financing. And when we feel that kind of oneness with all the voters, we're there. Because then we know we belong, and we have established a rapport and a relationship that can go somewhere with this party.